Hey friends, welcome to a new video here on the channel. As you can see, in this first part of the video, we are going to be doing our Hobonichi unboxing. I debated for a long time if I was going to do the unboxing or not, and ultimately I decided that I would. Of course, you have the option of not watching this. I never want anybody to feel like they need to be getting anything for them to have a successful and rewarding journaling practice, but I did place an order for Hobonichi and I wanted to, share what it was. Unfortunately, the box did not make it. It was in really good condition though, guys. I'm really surprised. Honestly, it feels like anyone could have just like reached in and tried to take something out. But unfortunately, me taking off they put the tracking information right on the front of the box. They couldn't put it anywhere else. So alas, it did not make it. But it's okay. It's fine. I don't do anything with these boxes much anyways. So let's go ahead and get this opened and do our initial reactions and what I got. I think that my plan for this video is going to be me talking about, first of all, obviously the Hobonichi unboxing, but then also what I have in mind, a preliminary, if you will, 2026 lineup. It is preliminary and I have the right, I hold the right to change my mind. I probably will. But even if I do change my mind, it is probably going to be utilizing these notebooks and such. So let's go ahead and get this open. I will say there is one thing in here that is for my best friend. We usually place the order together because she usually only gets the weeks, but everything else is mine. There is only, if you saw my kind of like pre-order video, my wish list video, if you will, a lot of what was in there did make it into my order with a couple of changes. So let's go ahead and get this opened up, get these all out of here, and you can already see, he's so cute. You can already see really exciting things. Okay. So much washi. This is one of the things that I didn't expect I was gonna get, is all that washi. Okay, so that's the box. Let's get these out of the way. Okay, so before I show you all of my things, I am just gonna put away what I got from my best friend. She ended up deciding on the Kyohei Sakaguchi en route to Kamamoto Port at Dawn weeks. And I had been debating this one as well. It's gorgeous. I'm not going to take it out of its little wrapping, but she got this. And then, of course, she gets a pen to go with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that away. And I will get everything out of their package, out of its respective package, and we'll meet back here. Okay, so almost everything is out of its respective packaging. I'm just going to take this one out, and I wanted to include it in case you're one of those people that really likes hearing the packaging being opened. So in a very similar fashion to what I used to do back in the day, I'm going to insert a little ASMR break. So I will put a timestamp somewhere on the screen showing you when you can skip to if you don't want to see if you don't want to hear it. So there's that. Let me go ahead and just stop yapping so we can do this. Okay, so we are ready to kind of talk about what it is that I ordered. So as the big book, as you would have seen, I did get the Hobonichi Avec. I got it in, I believe this is the English, but it could be the Japanese. Let's see here. I'm not sure which one I got. It might be the English, it might be the Japanese. Who knows? I would have wanted the English, but if it's the Japanese version, then that's fine. I don't particularly mind either way. Okay, it is the Japanese version. Now to think of it, I don't even know if I have the Japanese version or the English version this year. I'll have to look that up. But I did get the Avec, and it's because I am pretty much considering cutting this up next year as well and using it in a ring system. So that is that. And then one of the things that I did get that was not on my original wish list, but is something that I wanted to get and have been wanting for a little bit is this cover. This is the lined fabric twill navy and gray cover, and I unfortunately, even though I really like some of the designs in the Hobonichi, like this Hobonichi range, I can't. The sensory feeling of some of the nylon covers really stresses me out. It gives me some sensory issues, so I know that I can't get them. And this one, because it's like a fabric cover, I was really interested in for quite a while, and realizing that if I wanted to get a cover in the future, I would need to place an order for the books. I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to have to place an order for this now because I'm not going to get another set of books later. I'm not going to need another set of books. So ultimately, I decided to get this one, even though it did take me almost over budget by doing so. But it was now or never. And again, I did really want this one. And my idea for this was potentially putting this binder inside. I don't know if it'll fit. Yeah, it doesn't. Okay, that's what I thought. I was pretty sure it wouldn't, but I wanted to check. The idea was to potentially put that inside, but I do think that it needs to be a slightly smaller cover for it to fit. But I really wanted it. So I got this one, and that came with the Avec books. And then, of course, I got my beautiful Hobonichi Weeks. Oh, it's so precious. The Yuichi Inoue Amenimo Makezu Weeks. I am going to put this back into its packaging. I'm not going to store it outside of its packaging, but let's just open it so that we can see what it feels like. I'm not going to be setting this up until we're closer to the start of the year. So, oh, the feeling of that is beautiful. Oh, I love the feel of that. I'm so excited. I will do a pen test later. That'll be part of the video as well. But for right now, I have an event that I have to go to, so I'm not gonna spend some time on that. I did just want to see what that felt like, and it feels glorious. And I really like the pencil board. I didn't think I would just because it's like so green, but I like it. Oh, I love it. I'm so excited. I'm so glad I decided to read what it was about because I think this is like the perfect weeks for me. I was feeling a little bit sad at the fact that so many people were getting the same weeks because I'm ridiculous. But I'm gonna customize the heck out of this baby, and it's precious. It's precious to me. So those are the books that I got. I didn't get any other books. So let's talk about accessories. So in terms of accessories, I did get 2 of these index stickers, and they are smaller than I thought, but that's fine. I am planning on getting the Traveler's Notebooks annual set as well, so I will decide what to do, but I think I will probably use one of these for the weeks, and then I have to decide if I'm going to use it for the cousin as well or not. I also got the index tabs, which are tiny. I had a similar experience to Robbie. I thought these were bigger ones, but I'm not too pressed about the size. I do have a set of tabs. As if you want to just like see a comparison between like the ones that you usually see in Book Talk and stuff like that, there's a difference in size. But I do have a set of tabs like this that I got from Japan, and I like them a lot, specifically for tabbing manga pages inside. So I'm not too pressed about the size of it. I just was not expecting that at all. And then I did get the A6 Tomie pencil board, which is beautiful. I thought the holographicness was going to be way more distracting, and it's not. It's not distracting at all. It is plasticky feeling in comparison to the other pencil boards. The other pencil boards are definitely a matter feeling. I don't know if you can kind of see the difference, but yeah, I really like this one. I like that it's my second one, and it's also a comic panel. I love that. I hadn't even thought about that. And they're both purple in the back. Different purples, of course, but still purple. I hadn't even realized. I really love the texture of this one, though, this pencil board. But I'm glad to have this one in the collection as well. And then I also got these One Piece sticky notes. or memo pads, and I love them. I will be using these even before the start of the year. So I took that out of the packaging. I will be using them quite a lot. It's a bummer that it's only like, what is it, like 7? What is it? 6, 7? 7 designs. For a block this big, you would expect there to be more, but it is what it is. I really liked this one specifically because it has Barto and of course the Luffy image, and I really like this image of Robin as well. So that was the other accessory I got. And then another thing that I got that I was not expecting to get as much of are these Mina Perhonen washi tapes. I went a little crazy. And there was one that I didn't end up getting because I was trying to go so fast. But that's fine. I feel like I'm like almost 100% certain that we had never been able to purchase. I had never been able to purchase Mina Perhonen washi tape. It always was a Japan exclusive. So I did jump at the, what's the saying? Jump at the chance. Anyways, this is, let's see, Hane Hane Blue, Flutter, Bloom, Blooming Day, and Cho Cho Yellow. Cho Cho Yellow. Yeah, and I'm really excited because I really love them. I love Mina Perhonen washing tapes, and I only really ever have had samples, and I think maybe 2 actual washi tapes of hers that I got at a store down at Belfast. But yeah, so that's my Hobonichi haul. And then of course there is the pen, which I thought was really similar to the one from 2023, but it's not. It's definitely, this is a bluer color. I was gonna get it to try and compare it, but I have no idea where it is. So maybe in one of the next scenes that we cut to, I will compare the pen. But that is my Hobonichi haul. I'm very, very excited. I'm glad that it arrived. It took a lot longer than I thought it would, and a lot longer than it did for other people, which, like that meme. Also, look at the little robot. He's so cute. I'm obsessed. You're so worth it. So cute. We'll be living there in the little corner of my desk. Okay, cool. So that's it for this little section. I will catch you in the next part. Hey loves, so it's a couple of days later, and I just wanted to sit down and have a little Techo Kaigi, which is of course a journal and a planner talk, and kind of go through what it is that I'm thinking for my journaling ecosystem slash lineup for 2026. And this is a preliminary thing. And what I mean by that is that it is definitely susceptible to change at this point, because it's still fairly early in the year, or well, it's late in the year, but still early for 2026. But I just did want to talk about, especially since I just did the haul, which you would have seen for Hobonichi, what I have planned for the next year, and the different points that I guess those things could potentially change. So essentially, talk a little bit about what it is I'm doing with my journals right now, how that's going to be informing 2026, what I, at least at this point, think is not going to be moving over into next year, and things like that. So you would have just seen the Hobonichi haul right now, like the clip prior to this, and that is basically the Avec. So in terms of like Hobonichi things, it's the Avec and the weeks. It's these two, right? And I am planning on using the Avec in a very similar way to how I'm using it now, with some differences. And so let me go ahead and just move these things to the side so that we can talk about it with a little bit more ease. Okay. So as of right now, the Avec, the Hobonichi Cousin is split into 2 binders. I have my daily pages in one binder, and then I have my weeklies and monthlies in another binder. Potentially I might have to even get like a thicker binder for this because I'm inserting a lot of pages into it, but for now they kind of live like that. And so the idea is that next year I'm not going to be using, so the Our Studio journal right now is what I am using for joy journaling and pretty much capturing a lot of my day-to-day images that I, take from my phone and stuff like that. It's essentially a photo album of sorts, but focused on more of like the really joyful things, the things that I'm really grateful for, and highlights from every week. I really love this journal, but it's very easy for me to get behind on it, and I actually haven't really journaled in it per se. Let's see here. Like the images are stuck in, but I haven't journaled since May. And so what I'm thinking of doing is kind of, I really like this journal, and so I don't know just yet if I want to repurchase it. I would have to really think about what I would use it for, considering everything else that's going on. But for now, at least, I don't think I'm going to be purchasing it, even though, yeah, she's a gorgeous one. I don't know. I maybe might get it maybe for like an ink journal. I don't know. I haven't 100% decided. I do really like the paper on this, especially for ink. I think it does really, really well. But yeah, for now, the Hour Studio Journal, obligatory Luffy page mention, is not going to be coming into 2026. Instead, what I'm thinking of doing is using the Hobonichi cousin for something like that. And then just to mention what else is not going to be transferring into next year is the Take a Note. So the Take a Note is something that I'm also not going to be purchasing for next year. At least I don't have an intention to do so. I am moving my daily logging into, again, it'll live inside of my rings system, even if I'm using it in a different way. And I'll talk about that in a second. But that's another thing that I don't have plans on. That's another thing that I don't plan on getting next year is the Take a Notes. So, the Our Studio Journal and the Take a Note, those two, at least for now, will not be moving into 2026. So instead of that, I'm going to basically be combining various rings systems along with the Hobonichi cousin to kind of house those things. So if you haven't watched my rings video, I talk a bit about it there. I will leave it linked up above, and it kind of explains how I ended up here with my rings. So right now, what I'm doing is let's see here. Let me show you an example. I am right here using how about I organize this a little bit better? Oh, goodness. So basically right now, what I'm doing is I am pretty much daily logging in my personal Ranger, and I have it here. Basically, I just have blank pages and I do my, daily logging into these. And once I'm done with the week, then I will insert them in between the weekly pages of the Hobonichi cousin. Now, right now, what I paste inside of the weeks of the Hobonichi cousin is basically just overflow of whatever doesn't make it into the actual daily pages. So it's a lot of fan art sometimes it's quotes. I have done vertical timelines, captain's log, if you will. So it's just an array of different things. There's no rhyme or reason. It is sort of just overflow, and I experiment a lot with different formats. I quite like this format as well, but it's not one that I can do all the time. I really fall off of it for some reason. And I think the reason is that I just have a lot of different journals right now that capture a lot of different things. But essentially the idea is that since this is something that I struggle with every single time I use the Hobonichi cousin, the idea is that instead of the Hour Studio Journal being the Joy Journal, I'm going to use the vertical weeklies for that. So every image from my week will be captured in the vertical weekly, and then in between those pages I will have my daily logging that I can insert depending on what journal I used it for, because right now I'm primarily in a personal size ring system, but I also have the M5. So you can see in one of these, where is it? I think it's this week. Yeah. So you can see here, I have some M5 tip-ins from when I've used that during this particular week in here. And most recently, I got a passport sized binder, thanks to courtesy of Me Plus. And I do have a video where I go over this. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave it linked up above here. And so now I have the passport size as well that I use. And essentially I can just tip them in, right? So the idea is that if whatever it is that I'm using for daily logging, whether that is a bound book or not, because I do have my little moments where maybe I want to use the Midori, right? Like let's say I want to use the Midori that week for daily logging, then I'll just use my perforation tool. I will perforate it, remove it, and then tip it into the respective section of the week. So that's my idea for next week, or next week's 2026's vertical weeklies for the cousin. The monthly is something I am still working on. I haven't 100% decided what I'm going to do the monthlies for just yet, but that is workshopped, and the idea is also that I will have it living inside, living it together with the vertical weeklies. Something I've been doing too, and I'll talk a little bit more about this in the September in my journals video, but I've been kind of like junk journaling a little bit. And so I'm thinking that maybe those little junk journaling pieces can live in the monthly sections. So I'm kind of thinking about, what is it that I like to capture on a monthly basis? What is it that I like capturing on weekly basis, and what I like capturing on daily basis, and kind of figuring out where they would live in relation to each other. And I really like that because that means that I can be jumping around in different sizes, and at the end of the day, they all live together as one ecosystem without me having to have them all in one book to start with, which is something that I struggle with every single year at the beginning of the year. I want to have everything together in one book because I like the idea of everything being together, but I just don't work that way when it comes to the way that I enjoy journaling. I quite like kind of having different options and different sizes and forms and stuff like that. And so having the ability for them to live together anyways is really, really exciting, and has definitely changed the way that I look at my journaling systems. Now, that is the weekly pages. In terms of the monthly pages, then I will be using them, or rather, the daily pages, I'll be using them exactly as I have been, but it then becomes a little bit more robust because what I'm currently adding into the weekly pages will still live in the monthlies, in the dailies. I don't know why I keep wanting to call these monthlies, but so the dailies will really be kind of like the magpie section. It'll really be a magpie section overall, but this will capture quotes and the things that I'm collecting in my obsidian. It'll really be a place for me to kind of capture the things that I am paying attention to and all of the digital ephemera that I collect all in one place. And let's say again that I have, for example, I am considering making this be a media journal companion of sorts. And so there will be pages in here that relate to quotes or notes, reactions to media and stuff like that. And if I decide not to tip that into the weeks, then I can put them inside of the monthly pages. So for example, this is one of those things, right? Like I had a first songs section that definitely goes inside of the monthly section or the dailies section. And then I do think I have somewhere around here. Here's another little note that I was taking for the artist in residence program that Aaron Ware is facilitating, that I'm a part of. I was taking some notes in a passport TN, and I ultimately wanted to take that out. So I just perforated it, removed it, and added it into here. And then these are notes that I was taking on Obsidian, and I just went ahead and put them into this section because it belongs in between these days. And so really, it'll be really cool because all of the pages and all the different notebooks that I'm using are going to be able to kind of speak to each other in different ways. The way that I journal definitely is impacted by the size in which I journal in and the color of the page and all that stuff. And so kind of seeing all of those things speak to each other in that way is really, really exciting to me. And playing with all of the paper has been a lot of fun. And I am very excited to see how it just changes. And the fact that I was able to put the Hobonichi in rings really makes that process so much more, like I can feel the ebb and flow of my systems much more in this way than it being in a bound system. That being said, I'm still trying to figure out, because I've been doing a lot of tip-ins, the only other thing that I'm kind of interested in seeing is, the original plan was to bind this all back together at the end of the year, and I don't think I can do that anymore because of the tip-ins, the different size tip-ins. I think that if I were to rebind it again, it probably wouldn't work as well, but that's something for the end of the year. If it ends up being that I can't tip it in, or rather that I can't bind it in the way that I was expecting, then I will just put it together in a binder and archive it that way. But that's kind of the plan when it comes to the Hobonichi cousin. And there was a point where I was considering not using the cousin and was just going to give this to my sister. But I think that just the way that things are going right now, I do still plan on using this. And I think the fact that I was able to figure out this sort of tip-in situation with the different ring sizes has been really, really cool. So that is kind of like the plan for my more creative journaling and memory keeping, because this is really a memory keeping system, more than anything. So that's kind of like the plan with that. I am using the Hobonichi Weeks as a media journal or a media log. I have some things that I'm still considering. Like right now, I'm using the monthlies for these kind of like images, which I just use Pouches. I think it's Pouches online thing for sizing images, and I'm obsessed. So really excited to continue using that. I am trying to see, because I want to do my reactions in here possibly. I'm not sure. There's a potential for tipping in. I just dropped something. For tipping in, let me see. Like the passport pages, they fit perfectly well in here. So what I'm considering is, because this is, for example, this is going to be my One Piece tracker, I could always tip in pages into the weeks if need be. I would like it to be a space where I have my media log as usual, but then I still have to figure out the side pages. It's still something that I haven't 100% found a system for that I quite enjoy as well. So I don't know. I haven't 100% decided what to put on the sides here. And I've been experimenting with a lot of different things this whole year really. And I will continue to do that. But I am going to be using it as a media log, which is basically just a place where I go if I need to reference what it is that I've been consuming. And then I have to figure out what I'm going to do in the notes pages, which is still also something that I have in progress. But I really like having all of the media logs kind of together. The only one that is not a week size is the one from 2024, which is the TN. So I have 2023 and 2025 and 2026 that will be in weeks sizes. And yeah, I'm excited to customize it when the time comes, but I will be using that as a media journal. So that is pretty much it when it comes to the Hobonichi side of things. And then the only other thing that I have, which this was, I got this before I even realized that I was going to be using the cousin in the way that I am. So let me move this over. Okay, so I showed you guys this cover, and inside of it right now is the Jibun Techo days, which I purchased for next year. And originally the goal for this was to have a space for me to do a vertical weekly timeline, which is what I had been doing inside of the weeks, the vertical weeklies in the Hobonichi Cousin unsuccessfully. And then have this also be a sort of companion notebook to the index card system for daily tasks. And so that is the plan. This is going to be pretty much a functional system of sorts with some additional memory keeping-ish things. But I'm still kind of debating that. I'm not 100% sure about it. When I first got it, the idea was that one side was going to be kind of like the daily logging section, and then the other side would be the tasks. But I have been quite enjoying the daily logging in the ring system, so that is still something that is being that I'm workshopping. I really like the kind of like Gantt chart here in the bottom. I'm going to be using that for tracking, probably social media stuff. So what I'm thinking is right now what I'm using, where are you? Where is it? Here. Right now what I'm using for pre-planning is a Muji blank monthly notebook. And so I'm using that to pre-plan my social media and like YouTube videos schedule so that I don't lose track of what I need to do. And so what I'm thinking I'll do is I'll have this for pre-planning, and then I'll use this for like what actually ends up happening. And then the bottom, I don't know, maybe like on the side I can use it for tracking certain things. I don't know. I haven't 100% decided. When I got this, again, I hadn't 100% figured out my system for with the different rings like I have now, so it's a little bit different. Does this fit in here? The the Jibun Techo Days, oh, it does, is an A5 Slim. Cool. So yeah, I could definitely use it that way. Is an A5 Slim, but it does fit in here, even though it's a little bit loose. With the, you can kind of see there the difference between the A5. And then I also got the little insert with the flap. So it's like a little flappy insert, which I really like quite a lot. So it just slips in right here. And then just lives there. I like it quite a lot. And so yeah, that's, if you've never seen the Jibun Techo Days, this is the Days version format. These are some of the pages. And yeah, I'm still debating. I still have to give it a little bit more thought. There's a lot of different sections that you can use. And so what I was thinking, another possibility is that if I end up daily logging in here, I could always perforate the page, but I'm not 100% into that just because each day is back and forth. What I really like about being able to do my daily logging in something like a rings is that, for example, let's say I'm writing over here, I can choose not to go into the next page. Like, for example, if I don't end up daily logging at all, Saturday or Sunday, I can just use these pages and put them in between the week. I can choose not to add anything from the following week on the back page. And so it's very easy for me to kind of segment them in that way. And it's a similar thing. Like, I've been doing some random like weekly journaling in here. I'm planning on putting these in between the monthly pages. Because they're undated, then I can choose not to add a week in here for the next month, which is not something that you can really do when you have dated weekly-ish spreads, or like dated daily pages, because they leak into each other in that way. And so in that vein, if I were to perforate these, I mean, I guess it could work because there's the monthly page, but I don't know. I haven't decided on that just yet. Where are we here? See, like, this is a monthly page, which means that I can just disregard this page and put this into March. And then in a similar vein, yeah, I guess I could do that because the monthly page makes it so that I can live inside of a specific time frame, like if a monthly time frame. This one wouldn't really work weekly, but that's an option. Something else that's really cool, I've been dying to use this kind of like half and half format quite a lot. And you have, you know, half of this way, the timeline in the middle, and on top you have the week that you're in, and that kind of shifts. So you can always see the days of the week very plainly. And I find that really, really cool. I like the design quite a lot of this journal. I'm excited to use it and see if it works for kind of like functional / daily logging situations. We shall see. We shall see. But that's kind of the plan. So this is technically going to fill a more functional role to be in tandem with the index cards, which I will hopefully continue to be using into 2026, of course. And then aside from that, the only other journal that will be going into 2026 is the 5-year journal. This journal is one that I had recently wanted to kind of just like discontinue because I haven't been super active in it for the month of, so pretty much I only have, let's see, until the 23rd of June. And then I don't journal again in here until the 11th of July, July 14th, and then that's it until, so you can see here all these blank pages, until the 24th, a couple of days ago. And I had been debating, because of the fact that I've been in and out of this, more out than in, discontinuing it, but I decided that that was not what I was going to do. I'm just going to keep going with it. And what ends up happening in here ends up happening, and what doesn't. I'm not going to actually backlog this journal is what I decided. And by the end of the 5 years, I will have at least every single page should, in theory, have at least one entry in theory, right? So I'm going to keep going and see how it ends up being. I think even with the empty pages, I really loved the first couple of sets of entries, so much so that I decided, I'm not gonna chop it apart and use it for something else. I was considering using it for like chopping it into segments and using it for whatchamacallit, sketching out website ideas, but I have decided to continue on with it as a 5-year journal. So we'll see what it ends up looking like. This one runs not from the 1st of January to the 31st of December. It runs from my birthday, which is June 12th, to my birthday. So yeah, it was inspired by Maddie to start on my birthday from Hello Naya, because she started hers on her birthday as well. So that is it, I think, for 2025, what I'm considering for 2025. So it'll be a combination of different rings systems, whether that's the personal size, the M5, or the pocket. And then that will be supplementing my Hobonichi cousin, which I will be using as a all-around memory keeper, both for my actual life and then also my digital ephemera and media and commonplace. That I will also have that will be supplemented, I guess, functionally, by the Jibun Techo days and the Muji monthly. And then I'll have the Hobonichi weeks be what I'm going to be using for my media journal, my media log, if you will. And yeah, that's pretty much what I got. I think it's definitely a more condensed lineup than it has been in previous years, but I'm actually really liking it. I like that the cousin is going to be like the main book that everything lives inside, while still having the freedom of doing journaling in other pages, other sizes, and all that jazz. So yeah, that's kind of like what I'm thinking. What do you guys think? I don't know. Do you guys have your 2026 ideas? Did you order anything from Hobonichi? I think I'm gonna do a pen test on this now, because I'm curious. Should I do it now? I don't want to do it now. I know I probably should, but I don't want to. I kind of don't want to touch the cousin. I don't want to touch any of my 2026 journals just yet. I kind of want to wait till we're in December-ish, or at least at the end of November, to start messing around with these. So I'm not going to do the pen test, even though I thought maybe I should. There will be a dedicated video with that once I do my setup. Yeah. So that's it. That's my 2026 lineup. What do you guys think? Thank you so much for watching, as always. And I'd love to hear from you, like I mentioned, if you have a preliminary, lineup for next year and what it is. So leave it in the comments, please. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you in the next video. Bye!